Sponsored by Raytheon Technologies, and I'm your host, Marcia Jews. During the Black Engineer of the Year Awards Conference, I've assisted participants in unearthing their stellar achievements in STEM excellence with the goal of revealing their career and advancing brilliance of STEM essence. BEA STEM Conference is the place where trailblazing STEM professionals turn their STEM story into STEM stardom. And now, please welcome our next guest.
Hi, my name is Nalini Ambrose, and I work at the MIRTE Corporation as the Manager of Veterans Affairs, Health Systems, and Strategy. Something interesting about myself? I love traveling to new places, seeing new things, and eating good food.
Hello. That's cute. Seeing new things. Good afternoon to you too. Eating good food and seeing great things. It's wonderful. What's your favorite food?
I love Mexican food. I love Indian food, and just the regular taco is one of my best dishes.
Well, you have to come to my house because my daughter and grandson love tacos.
Oh,
We're
nice.
a taco house. Yeah, it's amazing how much they love them.
Very
So
nice.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your job, and how did you decide to get into the STEM field?
Sure. So as my video said, I'm Nalini Ambrose, and I'm originally from India, and I came to the States, it's been more than 30 years ago as a student. And at that time, growing up in India, I realized I wanted to get into the healthcare field pretty quickly. And so the one aspect of being in healthcare that really drove me as my passion was being in the area of health information technology, just because health technology connects so closely with healthcare quality, healthcare outcomes, population health, etc. So that's really what drew me into STEM. I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you again.
MITRE is, do you do a lot of research with MITRE, or what are the products of MITRE?
Yes, I belong to the healthcare component within MITRE, working in MITRE Health Labs previously, and currently my more recent role is managing the portfolio of projects for Veterans Affairs, all primarily focused on the areas of health information technology, electronic health modernization, integration of systems, etc. So that's where my most recent heavy focus has been.
And so if we were to look at MITRE, this is more of a research institute. Is that correct?
Well, MITRE is a non-for-profit, and it actually runs about 6 what's called federally funded research and development centers, and I belong to one of those FFRDCs, as they're called. This is focused on government effectiveness and modernization. So we work with federal agencies like Veterans Affairs, and within Veterans Affairs, Veterans Health Administration. We work with Veterans Benefits Administration, IRS, and so on. And the arena that I'm most focused on is Veterans Affairs and Veterans Health Administration.
Mm-hmm. And so when you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, as a little girl, I think I had a lot of ideas. I loved being in the architectural field because I loved art and drawing. And then over time, my decision and focus kind of changed because my mother suffered from heart disease pretty much, all of the life that I have known from her very early age. And just seeing that made me change my focus to wanting to be in health and healthcare and really wanting to help improve healthcare in not only in individuals but in populations. So that's kind of what changed my focus.
Mhm. And so, what would you say to your three things that you would say to your younger self?
Well, I would say, plan for your future, but be prepared to change course as
Hmm.
needed, because a lot of things happen during the course of one's life that I think changes the course. And be prepared to take risks in order to achieve your dreams, because without taking those risks in life that I had to take, I don't think that I would be here today in a STEM career and in a STEM leadership position. And I don't know. The third thing I would say is just have fun, be yourself, enjoy life, and you'll achieve what you want to do.
Were there any courses that you didn't take that you wish that you had taken?
Yes, most recently, it's funny you should ask that, because most recently I was on a project related to COVID-19,
Mm.
and we worked with the Department of Health and Human Services to assess the safety and effectiveness of COVID-19 treatments, because at that time, the FDA had issued emergency use authorizations for drugs like monoclonal antibodies, and it was based on a limited clinical trial. And so what MITRE did was we gathered data, real world data from multiple health systems to be able to assess the effectiveness and safety of monoclonals. And the one interesting part of the study was that not only did we collect clinical data from patients, but also viral genomic data. So we collected a lot of genome sequences and linked it to the clinical data to be able to see, with the evolution of the variants, what the effectiveness of monoclonals were. And at that time, I've learned so much about genomics since that time, and my background is not in genomics. So I really wish I had taken a course in genomics, which would have helped me understand my work better.
But I
And my
don't think it's too late. It's never too late, girl. It's never too
Indeed,
late. And and
indeed.
and and looking at all these things that are going on with that whole era, it makes me wonder that we need some other brains in there stirring those pots to deal with some of these new protocols that they're sending out. So I don't think that's done yet, and I think that they need all of the brain power they can get to make certain that everything is done deliberately and properly.
Yes, no, absolutely. Very, very true.
Hmm. So I am focused on middle school girls. I love middle school. It's that point where these young people come out of elementary school and they're getting ready to go to high school, and it's a very sensitive age, right? It's a
Hmm.
sensitive time. What would you recommend to middle school girls in their trek towards finding themselves in a career?
Well, I would say I have a daughter, and I've been through that middle school phase with her. And what I would say is, take your time, explore different avenues of interest that you might have, whether it's in technology, engineering, anything related to the use of technology, even graphics or artificial intelligence for that matter, which are all new and emerging technologies. Try your hand at several things, take some courses that might interest you, see what your passion really is, because STEM is a broad field and there's always something there for everyone to suit your passion and your dreams. So it's just finding that right sweet spot, if you will, but you have to do a little bit of exploration in order to get there.
In order to get there. That's exactly right. So, do you volunteer? Where do you volunteer if you do?
Well, I volunteer through my local church, and we do a lot of community-based work, like packing food for hunger programs like Stop Hunger Now. also cooking and serving food at women's shelters in the local area. And from an environmental perspective, I've been part of cleanup programs, like, highway cleanup programs in the DC area and things like that, which I think are really important.
They are every single one of them are important. And specifically, feeding people and encouraging people who haven't reached the levels where you are. And so that's huge. I commend you. We
Absolutely.
have it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that we all need to be doing.
Yes, that's very true. I mean, I think that's really the basic human need, food and shelter are the basic needs of people. And if they don't have that, it's really hard for them to kind of see how they could rise above that level. So that's
Mhm.
really been my area of focus and passion.
That's wonderful, and it should be a priority. That's a whole girl. That's a whole nother show. That's another interview, right? Because right, there shouldn't be anybody hungry in the United or homeless in the United States of America,
Absolutely.
or anywhere in the world for that matter. I don't get it, but whatever. So here's a question for you from the standpoint of looking into the future. What would be the top three things that you would recommend for young girls to be focused on from a career standpoint? What are those, I guess, the silos or the areas of industry that are up and coming that young girls could start now in elementary, middle school, and start preparing that baseline to get ready for the next step for their employment?
Sure, sure. I would say, when my background is more on the healthcare side, so certainly I tend to have a view towards healthcare. So certainly, I mean, I would say, new and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and robotics, there's a lot of applicability in healthcare and outside of healthcare. I mean, it's starting to be, AI is already starting to be used in areas like diagnostics and clinical support and things like that. The one thing to be cautious about with artificial intelligence is that one needs to be really careful that there's equity in the algorithms that are prepared. There's been a lot of research that's been done in that area, because the population, the sample population sometimes that are used to build AI algorithms are not always equitable. They're not equal. So that's something to focus on. I would say, I've heard so much about cybersecurity at the Bay conference where I am today, and I do agree. I think cybersecurity is an area of great focus coming up in the future as it is currently.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I told you too. If I mean, I would say just look for emerging technologies, because there may not be technology that's mature enough today that younger students might see coming up in the next few years or so.
Well, one thing I think is really interesting with BEA and the Women of Color STEM conference is that they always bring young people to be able to go to the exhibits and see the jobs that are available. They get to talk to people who are in the HR and whatever. And I think it's the best place in the whole wide world to be able to have your children come in and see all, because a lot of them bring the equipment itself that they are manufacturing, and to be able to be in that space, and it allows young people to dream, to see themselves there in these spaces. And I think it's so important that we can bring as many young people as possible to do that. And it's really funny. So when you walk around the exhibit hall, as you well know, you see these kids on the day that the kids come, and they're just walking around. Their eyes are all bucked out. Their mouths are hanging open. They haven't seen anything like it. And it's just, they're so enamored. And, I keep saying, I said this to somebody not too long ago, a couple months ago. I said, I'd really like to follow those kids. And I've not done that, to go back to their schools and, or at least ask their schools to write a report and send it, right?
Yeah.
So that we know the takeaway and what it changed in some of those children's lives. And, they've got 37 years of bringing young people to this conference, which is
Yes,
powerful.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've been so impressed with, what I've seen at Bayer. It's an amazing opportunity, not only for, more mature professionals in their career, but most particularly for those early career professionals and for kids as they come to the conference to see the possibilities, what they can achieve. And it's really building that confidence in themselves that they can do this too. I think
And they
that's,
can.
yeah,
And
and
they
they,
can.
yeah,
Now, you won an award. You want to share with us what your award was?
Sure, I'm happy to. My award was for outstanding technical contribution, and I am so thrilled and really humbled to be receiving this award. And I stood on the shoulders of so many people who came before me, and so I really hope that I can be that shoulder that other younger professionals could, step on and take advantage in order to realize their dreams. So it's really been a fantastic experience.
Well, you're already there now. So you're part of the family. You don't get an option.
Thank
It's
you.
forever. It's
Thank
forever. You're part of the family now, girl.
you. All right.
Really, and it's so amazing. I was talking to somebody not too long ago because we were here years ago, right? And they're saying it's still going strong. I said, and it's not going to go anywhere. Where else are
Yeah.
you going to go and see this type of employment and people who are doing STEM and they look like us? Come on now, we've got to be able to celebrate all that they've gone through to get to where they are, just living life normally. So, I'm excited for your award, and please don't
Thank
take it
you.
lightly. And you're over there with Dr. Lydia Thomas. I don't know if she's still there, but she used to work over at MITRE and was really, really involved with Bea and the
Oh,
woman of
good.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
This is my first time at Bayer, and so I'm meeting so many new people and learning about all of the exciting work that's happening. So it's been really eye-opening and it's been awesome.
Yes, and you can't get away. Now you're stuck. You are just we'll see you this time next year.
I love to be stuck with Bayer.
What a great place to be stuck with, right?
Indeed.
Okay, thank you so much, Nalini Ambrose. Thank you very much. Continued success, and we'll
Thank
see
you.
you. And we'll see you next year.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Great meeting
Okay,
you.
nice meeting
Bye.
you as well. And we'll be right back with our next guest.